welcome to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, and today, guys, we are doing one of those things we do a lot on the channel, everything wrong with something. And today's something is Harris Lue Creative's 93 Calypso. We actually have had this car on the channel before, went through all the history of it. Harris, welcome back to the channel again.
Thank you.
I do remember that video. Hopefully they do. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's worth checking that one out first, so I'll throw one of those cards. But anyway, today, are you ready, Harris? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, well, keep in mind during that video, I had a stretched throttle cable.
That's true. We went for a ride in it.
The car was well underpowered, and thanks to Doc Fox over there, he let me know that my throttle cable was probably stretched and I should look at it. So after him finding a few things here and there, I really wanted to get him in here to do the full roast of Calypso. I mean, everything wrong with Calypso, isn't it?
Yeah, we used to say that, but maybe we should change the name of these videos. Roast my car.
Yeah. I want to make sure that this thing is daily drivable and I can trust it every time.
Well, you drive your cars, much like me. You know, we both drive our cars, which is awesome.
It might have already had an issue.
You know, I wasn't going to bring that up, but we could talk about it if you want.
Where we know going into this thing that brakes are going to be a problem.
Yes, Harris had a little, I don't know, is it fender bender? It's not really. I mean, you didn't bend it.
Bent.
Yeah, just a little scrape.
I traded some paint in morning traffic.
There you go. You thought it was really NASCAR and you were trading paint?
Yeah, right? Going the way to my NASCAR job, I traded some paint, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we already know brakes are going to be.
Yeah, and we found out that was the brakes. I mean, you drove, I think you touched the brakes in my car and you saw how much better they were, right? Yeah.
Put 7,000 miles on the car with really bad brake problems.
Yeah.
So
one of the things Matt found last week, I think, was your brake booster. Was it the booster that wasn't even plugged into vacuum, or
the main vacuum line?
Yeah.
Had a lot of smoke coming out of it on the leak down test. So
yeah,
that's one of a few things I'm sure he's going to find.
That's the great thing about these videos, is he gets to go through and just point out all the money that you need to spend coming soon.
Yeah, my wallet told it to put the earplugs in so it doesn't hear all of this. And you know, these videos are great because just through watching a couple of the ones that you've done, I realized that my fuel lines were routed the wrong way on this car a couple months back. And I was I was able to save my car from catching on fire. So hopefully, you know, if we find some stuff here, you guys out there can go double check the stuff on your car and make sure that you don't have the same problems that I'm having.
Yeah, that's a great point. We did change the fuel tank on, I think, Scarlet. And one of the things we went over there was how it was routed, and Harris was routed wrong. And I think you bought those parts from FMR.
Yeah, I did. And I had my, you know, my tailpipe had burned through one of my fuel lines. That could have been really bad.
Yeah,
so
you caught that one.
I've dodged a few bullets with this car, and I want to get it in here so I can dodge the rest of them before I find them myself.
There we go. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and enter the matrix, I guess. We're dodging bullets. Right?
Yes.
Matt's already going at it. One thing is, this car is very much not stock. It was a 4-cylinder. Like I said, we covered it on the channel before. Harris has a Cobra rack, 93 Cobra rack. Matt's seeing if there's a leak at the rack right now.
Leaking.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that rack is no good, buddy. That internal seal has that boot completely full of fluid.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of, if you have to keep adding power steering fluid and you can't find out where it's going, it's all sitting in this boot.
Just on that one side?
Nope, both of them.
Yeah, I saw it pour right out. You see that?
So yeah, that rack is toast. This wheel bearing, your wheel bearings are a little loose.
Okay.
That one is. This one too.
Is that where you might need new ones, or you just have to repack them, or what?
It's just, you know, when you were doing the tightening the nut thing, they were just left a little loose.
Okay,
they
that's
may have not have been set properly.
Yeah, so that might be
that's,
easy
you know,
fix.
that tightening and loose, spinning it and tighten loose and tighten loose, and that helps keep.
Yeah,
that
we do have
happening.
a full brake video on that. So
you're still running the 4-cylinder sway bar.
Yep, I got a new one actually in the shop.
Okay.
In my shop, I just
a V8 one.
Haven't gotten around.
Yeah, that'll make a big difference on your cornering and stuff for sure, especially with this heavier motor. This is indication. You see this like orangish, yellowish type chunky stuff.
Yeah.
That's what happens when coolant leaks and then dries up. So if we go up here, you'll see, I believe, just like on your car, we got the bottom of that water pump leaking. Water pump's leaking. It does look like your oil pan may be leaking here a little bit.
Yeah, I think the oil pan could use
Or, yeah, possibly. You don't want to overdo it though. No. Valve cover definitely leaking really, really bad.
Yeah, I see that.
See that? And that's, you notice the side of the motor's dry over here.
Yeah.
Then if we come over here, we look at the starter.
Yeah, the moisture on the starter.
The starter's oily, and plus you'll see we got oil all up here. And look, we have oil all over the oil pan here and all over the spacer plate right here.
Yep.
A lot of people think that that could be a rear main seal, but you always got to check up top. The rear of this valve cover is leaking pretty bad, and also the motor kind of tilts back.
At an angle,
so even if it's leaning at the front, it will run down that seam and then drip all of that straight down here.
Yeah.
I would say don't worry about the rear main right now. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Get the oil, get the valve cover fixed.
Gaskets, yep.
Then clean it off, drive it, recheck it after a month.
That's valve cover gaskets, basically?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
You're taking notes here.
Don't worry.
All right.
I'll send you a link to the video, Harris.
It looks like they just used the black rubber ones without the spacers. That's probably why it's leaking. I always use the blue silicones. They have like a metal insert in them, and they're actually reusable too.
Yeah, they're awesome.
These are technically considered reusable, but since they don't have the spacer, and if you don't torque them evenly, you can bulge out at one place, not be tight at another, and cause all kinds of issues there. The O2's cut off. This is your wideband O2 for your system, for your management system. I'm really surprised that it's not running both bank. It's only reading off of the passenger bank. So to me, you would think, I mean, maybe the way that system's set up, but you would think, I would think, that you would want to know what both banks are doing.
This is the Pimp XS
okay.
Standalone system.
Yeah, which I'm not familiar with that, so
right.
You know, it may run okay with just one side, but to me, you think you'd want to know what both sides is doing. Because if you got an injector that's froze up over here, and you're not going to see that over here, then that means you can melt a piston over here, but running super lean by the injector not running when the computer thinks everything's fine. That's my thought on it.
It's worth checking into at least to see how they recommend running it.
It does look like that might be the 4-cylinder drive shaft. You got a little bit of play in the yoke, but since it's not leaking, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks like the transmission is pretty dry.
I do like how he's legal. Cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Lasani X. I wanted to go with the H, but the H pipe I bought would not fit on the car. It was from a company that will not be named.
Okay.
And,
but the Vissani X works.
They couldn't wrestle it in here, so.
No. Power steering pump?
Yeah, the fitting, it looks like where the fitting screws onto the housing, it looks like we've got some leaking here. All this yellow is from the massive AC compressor leak. That's all the dye from that. And if I remember correctly, you have the AC hooked up, but we checked it, and the fans do not come on, which means you cannot drive the car with when the AC is working, because when you come to a stop at a stoplight, your AC is going to stop working. If you're there long enough, the pressure is going to go high enough, it's either going to explode a hose or blow everything out your purge valve.
So does that need a new compressor, or what does that need there to fix that?
It needs to be rewired with the fan stuff in here.
Oh, okay. So, y'all talked about this before then.
That's the thing with electrical fans is most of the time when I see people hook it up, you know, if you have AC, you have to run an AC signal to it so it comes on while you're sitting still at a traffic light or idling with the air conditioner on. Those have to be running. A lot of time, it's very common for me to see a cooling fan setup or electric cooling fan setup with that just completely overlooked.
Just a little bit of wiring change then, right? To wire in?
Yeah, both relays are there. I think they're getting the temperature signal for the cooling fan from the computer. I think we thought it was hooked up to there. So at that point, you need to look on that documentation to see if they have a signal that will do the same thing for the AC.
To kick it on.
Yeah. So that's about what I found down here.
Let's look at your reroute over here.
Got them going the right way.
Look at that, right behind
the straps where they're supposed to be.
See, you learned something on Gearhead 704.
I did. I learned a lot, man.
I love it.
Well, Doc Fox is full of information.
Yeah.
We'll let her down. Let's look at the under the hood up top.
Yeah, Matt, you didn't really see anything wrong with the rear end and stuff, right?
No, nothing that's
jumping out.
Yeah, nothing's jumping out.
Other than the bum brakes, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. There's a little brake issue, guys. So we already alluded to it. Anyway, lowering the car down, but underneath she's pretty clean, man. All right, Calypso's back on the ground, checking underneath the hood, which I know I always say this, Harris, but I do love the plaque, the intake plaque.
Yeah, shout out Tom Clark.
That's right.
He brings my ideas to life, all the crazy ones I have. So.
Yeah, he did your gauges too, right?
Gauges, intake, wheel decals, all that good stuff.
Yeah. There you go, guys. That's what we're talking about right there. He did both of those, center cap and the.
Well, I did the spoke decal. He did all the center caps on this car and Grant's.
Just pulled that from the valve covers, guys. So.
Yeah, just run your hand under that lip, and it's full of oil.
We need to see a video on your channel on that.
Yeah, I might have to fire the camera up when I go to fix all this.
There you go. I will definitely encourage that. We gotta get you to 1,000. You're getting close, right? Pretty close.
700, something like that.
All right.
Not too.
Please go subscribe to Lue Creative. He won't bombard you with videos, so it's cool.
You can go watch all the stuff that I did that he said I did wrong 5 or 6 years ago, 4 or 5
That's
years
right. You got documentation.
Yeah, you can go watch me put the spindles on and all that. And not do my bearings right.
Your accumulator bracket is completely missing both mounting nuts, so these nuts need to be put back on so the accumulator can be mounted nice and solid. You're missing a hood bolt here.
Yeah, I know that because the clip on the inside stripped out.
Yep, gotcha. Same thing happened on mine.
I know when we did the smoke test, we did find a pretty good vacuum leak. It was at that vacuum tree. Vacuum hose from the intake that supplied vacuum to the entire tree, the fitting it was plugged into was one size too small. So you actually were losing all your vacuum to the system, which means your brake booster was not power assist. You were basically driving like manual brakes.
Manual brakes?
Which
Okay.
if you're not expecting it.
Yep, that's how that happened.
That happens.
So yeah, so we put a hose clamp on that. That went ahead and supplied vacuum to the booster.
They did that last time, guys. That was just something we handled. We didn't cover it on video or anything.
Smooth out the idle a little bit too.
Yeah. So this right here, the fuel pressure regulator, this is something I want you to research. This fitting right here is usually for a vacuum line, which is how it's going to regulate the fuel pressure. So before you take it and have it tuned, I would want to research that to see if that's this system or that regulator should have a vacuum line plugged there. Spark plug wires, I would definitely do something with these. You see how they're routed everywhere?
Yeah.
You probably might want to try to shorten those up, and the way you do those is you could actually cut the end off here, and they sell I actually have a crimping tool in the new terminals to where you can cut it the length, crimp a new terminal on, and plug it right back and you're done. You can cut all the spark plugs length. And the reason you want to do that is because when you're, luckily you have this stuff on here, so it's going to last a long time. You don't have to worry about it rub through too much, but you can see right there where that's already been rubbing and rubbing the aluminum off onto that braiding, and that's just from the vibration. And so that's why, that's what these combs are for.
You wouldn't have it.
Well, here's the thing, spark plug wires just should not be touching anything but these combs.
Gotcha.
Period. Because when they're like rubbing up against stuff like this right here, you're gonna eventually rub through it. You're gonna have a hole in your spark plug wire, and then your engine's gonna start missing a cylinder or two, and that's not good. That's why you would really want to do that. Not only does it, you know, some people think it looks better with shorter wires, but the biggest thing is it helps prevent from, you know, any type of rub through. Okay, so you're still running the 4-cylinder proportioning valve and brake booster master cylinder. See how wide that booster is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus the proportion.
We're checking here on a V8 car, guys.
Actually, you might have the right proportioning valve. I'll go look at it again, but the booster is definitely
Just the booster.
4-cylinder.
Okay.
So that is also, if you went ahead and put the V8 brakes on there, you're still running short on the power assist, so you're still going to be using more force than what should be necessary.
Like
the
a 93
V8
Cobra booster would be a good one, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's good. That's a dual diaphragm booster, where the GTs are a single diaphragm booster, so it's going to give you too much power assist with the GT system. You really want to match the systems up. When you go to the Cobra booster, you're also going to the Cobra master cylinder, which has a bigger bore, so that moves more fluid, basically more fluid transfer to give you more pressure at the brake. That might be the V8 proportioning valve, I'm not sure, but yeah, that booster is definitely the 4-cylinder, so you want to get that fixed. You do need to do some type of an overflow tank.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is, as you're driving down the road, this thing heats up, everything expands with heat. That's why there's a hot and a cold on the tank.
Yep.
So what's happening is every time that purges, it's just going under the ground, and it's not in the tank to suck back in. So what happens is, over time, your coolant level just slowly drops, but you never see it drip out anywhere because you're blowing it out driving down the road a little bit. Everything else under here looks okay. Now we want to get a look at them brakes, right?
Yeah, so that was another thing they did, guys. Last time they looked at the brakes, and you're about to see what we found out. You're pretty much expecting most of this kind of stuff right here?
Yeah. Had some heads up on a few things before this, but definitely still finding stuff that I didn't know about, like the master cylinder. So converting a car from 4-cylinder to V8, there's obviously some things I left undone or didn't know about in the process.
They didn't teach you that at 4 to 8 swap school? I mean,
no, they didn't.
No.
You know,
Matt, we need to do that at school.
Yeah.
Obviously, I still have, you know, 4-cylinder fuel lines, and there's some things I cut some corners on. You know, just figuring out what I'm dealing with and how much of a basket case it is, and it's not too bad. These are all fixable.
No.
So.
Yeah.
So Matt just put her back up in the air, took the wheels off, and he's checking out the drum.
Yeah, so I wanted to check your brakes last week, if you remember, and I went to adjust them because they were really loose. And they were so loose, I just decided to take the drum off. And the first thing I noticed, if you notice, the drum's clean at this little spot right here, but that's all a rusted drum surface. A rusted drum surface on a car that's being driven tells me one thing: the rear brakes aren't working at all.
That might have been why you had that little fender.
Yeah, maybe.
Another part of it.
And
Another part of it.
7,000 miles on it since September, so that rust definitely shouldn't be there.
No. So what I believe happening is, I believe your wheel cylinder is probably rusted solid. Your wheel cylinder basically takes place of the caliper up front. It's got a little hydraulic pistons. Instead of the caliper has one on these cars, this has 2 pistons. And when you put the brake pressure in, it pushes the pistons out, which then pushes the shoes out, which pushes them against the drum. So since yours is not working, I'm guessing...
Is it frozen?
frozen. It doesn't go in at all. And this is the way you test it. Like that one just went in. This one here, that's spring loaded. It goes in, comes back out. This one here, that's rock solid. Another reason why your brakes may not be working, your brake hose for your rear brakes has been sitting up against this muffler. What's happening is it's causing vapor in your fluid. So you may, whenever you drive for a long period of time, if your brakes get super spongy, that's why. Because you're actually boiling it, creating air, and air compresses. Yeah. All that rub smooth right there. Yeah. That's where from rubbing up against the exhaust. Okay. Because if you think about it, and you can actually see where the exhaust has been rubbed clean right there. You can see it right there. But anyway, yeah, so that's not good. What you really want to do, you want to get this whole thing replaced. Like your brake lines here, the brake hose, where it's routed, this is all 4-cylinder setup. The V8 will mount right here. The brake hose will go from here up to the chassis right here.
That's the one I broke.
To keep it away from your exhaust pipes. I'll be honest with you, I would not take this on a real long trip, Myrtle Beach or anything like that, until you get these brake lines reworked.
It's already been there and back.
Well, yeah, and as you see how it's rubbed smooth, and it's just gonna keep rubbing.
Oh man.
And eventually, if it gets hot enough, it's either gonna blow out or, like I said, collapse or get vapor in there and boil.
All right, we're checking the other side here. So
this wheel cylinder, both sides work. This drum is not full of rust. It's got maybe a little bit in there, but it's definitely not like the other one was. It's extremely de-adjusted. The other problem is we've pointed this out in videos before. Very common mistake most people do, but whenever this little horseshoe piece right here, or this bracket, is not mounted correctly in the shoe, you get slack in this cable.
Well, that affects the adjuster too, doesn't it?
It is the adjuster.
Okay.
That cable is actually what keeps the locker for the adjuster in place. You see how this arm is way down here? Well, it's not gonna, look, I can spin that both ways.
Yeah, it's not adjusting it at all.
When it's in its proper position, it'll sit on those teeth and you can only go one way. And the reason that needs to happen is, just like when it's not hooked up, it will actually start screwing back in, de-adjusting your brakes, and then the further those get together, the further you have to push that brake pedal to get them to engage. I got you all new adjuster kits, all new springs, new cables, new shoes, new wheel cylinders. We're gonna do all that stuff.
And the good news, if the drum over here wasn't rusty, then maybe the brake hose is working enough.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We may be okay to get you going tonight, but again, you're gonna wanna do that as soon as
It's something you're gonna wanna do, yeah. Yeah, you can see it better here, guys, where it was rubbing at.
Yeah, that's scary. Another 4 to 8 swap woe and worry. Make sure you change your brake lines.
What's happening here, guys, he's gonna go ahead, do the brakes. We've done that with the channel before, so if you're interested in like how to do the rear drums, we got lots of videos on that. Check the channel out. But we'll do that and then we'll test it, see how it does, see if that takes care of the problems. Fun times. All right, we are about to get in Calypso here, guys, because I think Matt got the brakes all set for you, huh, Harris?
I think he did.
I wasn't sure about that left rear wheel cylinder, but Matt got it working?
I think so.
He says we're good, right?
You know,
all right, so. We'll find out. Here we go.
Got your seatbelt on just in case, right?
You're driving, man. I gotta have my seatbelt on.
Look, I'm no Ben, but
no.
I don't know if I'm much better.
So I think he told you to test to make sure we got some brake first, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
yeah. We got plenty of brake.
Oh, she's so glad it. Oh, Lord. Oh, gosh. You didn't have to do that. I think the brakes work.
I think they work a lot better than they did.
Oh, God, I didn't know he was going to do that. All right, so you can take me home now.
Hey, look, I made sure we had plenty of time to stop before the stop sign.
That's true. And
my water bottle went straight to the back.
I could tell that the throttle cable is fixed.
Yes,
so
it is.
His brakes did work, but he just blew them out. So, you know, being a YouTuber and riding other people's cars, I think it's an occupational hazard.
Okay, we're going to stop again here.
Good God.
Yeah, that's way better. I would have definitely not hit that car had the brakes been like that.
Oh, man. I think you're happy. You seem happy over
dude,
there.
Holy
okay.
I can stop.
He's even saying swear words, making me beep stuff. I love it.
Put in a duck sound or something.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. See? He watches the channel.
The quack. You know?
It's always the quack.
Yeah, that's night and day difference. Once again, another save by Doc Fox.
Yeah, that's what we're going with, Doc Fox. You got to get some shirts made up.
Yeah, we do.
Doc Fox.
Like the old Dr. Mario video game cover. We need to do that with Matt.
That'd be awesome. So guys, I survived that ride somehow, but she's stopping really well. You happy with how she's stopping, Harris?
Dude, over the moon. This guy.
Yeah?
Genius.
So you're happy he went through your car and said everything wrong with it.
I'm just putting it back to the way that they made it.
But it's good that you know all that stuff and that you can
fair.
pass that on to us and pass that on to you, the viewer.
Yeah.
So that if you've ever had your stuff worked on or you worked on it yourself, you know what to double check and triple check to make sure that you don't end up like me and in the back of somebody in traffic trading paint. So,
Well, that ain't gonna happen now.
No,
As someone that just rode in that car.
yeah, we've
Now
got
somebody
some,
rear-end you.
maybe.
Well, Matt, what's kind of your final thoughts on the car? You went through everything.
A great car. It just needs the things corrected, and you know, it's what I see on a lot of them. You know, it's usually really good parts. A lot of times it just may, you know, somebody didn't complete the job or didn't quite know right how to do it. You know, yeah, once you put them back in the way they're supposed to be, they work and stop good.
They stop great.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. You got your brakes fixed today.
Yes,
But Harris, what do you think now that the Doc Fox has gone through and told you everything wrong with your car? You feeling all right?
I'm feeling good. I like the brutal honesty.
It's better to know, right?
Yeah, and I carry that same philosophy in my design work. If it's bad, it's bad. Tell me. Now I know what to do. Now I've got a list of things to check off in my garage before I take it off on a long hour road trip again, and it'll be better than it was thanks to bringing it by here.
Cool. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We always like doing these. Everything wrong with my Fox, and we have different Foxes, and this is fun. I have a whole playlist of these videos actually, so if you want to check it out, have a link down below to that. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Big thanks to Harris, Matt from FMR, follow Lue Creative, all that for making this video happen. And if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe because I upload 2 times a week, every Sunday and Wednesday, so you can count on that consistent content. And we'll see you here next time on Gearhead 704.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. But you know,
This still
Don't come on now. Oh, no, stop that mess. Come on now.
We're back. We're good. We're only going like 15 miles an hour, folks. Just don't try this at all.
Don't try it if you're me. Why did I get back in this car?